I'm Stephanie Filardi. Welcome to Mind the Gap, the podcast. I believe many people fall short of living the life of their dreams simply because they get stuck in what I call the gap. The vision behind this podcast is to help you understand how to navigate the gap and in the process, awaken to the life that is waiting for you. It starts now. Let's go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today. We'll start with our 3 conscious breaths. Take a moment, inhale through the nose, fill up. Exhale, release out of your mouth, let it go, relax the shoulders. Inhale, filling up. Exhale, release, letting go, softening the belly. And one more time, inhale through the nose, filling up. Exhale, release and let go, softening the area around the eyes. Today, I want to dive into the energy body. What is it? The best way I can explain the energy body is with an example. So imagine you walk into a crowded room and you have a sensation in your body, something comes over you that perhaps feels out of place, uncomfortable, or off. That is energy. That is your energy body picking up something going on in the environment. You can also have the experience of walking into that same room and feeling a sense of joy and happiness and levity. So those are 2 sides of the energetic perspective, right? The spectrum. Light energy and heavier energy. Lighter, more open, airy energy, or denser energy. So that is the energy body. It's that feeling. It's a felt sense. It's a sensation. Some people refer to it as intuition. There's a lot of words. What I encourage you to consider is checking in with yourself, and even as I'm talking, noticing the energy of my voice, of how you're feeling, of the words. When I say light energy, how does that land? How do you feel? When I say heavy energy, how does that make you feel? So energy is a transmission. It's powerful. Energy is actually neutral. So what's interesting about the energetic conversation is that sometimes we throw around terms like, positive energy and negative energy, or good energy and bad energy. And something that, quite frankly, I've learned on the shamanic path is that all energy is neutral. It depends on how we use it. Right? So in my shamanic practice, I have the ability to work with people on the level of the energetic and use that beautiful energy to create more beautiful light energy. Or if I'm not a person of morals and values and ethics, I can use energy in a way that's harmful. So something important to notice. So why is it important to understand the energy body? And this is a real kind of basic conversation about it. It's because we are energy. And the reason we are energy is because we can have that sense of walking into a room and feeling something without uttering a word. So it's a really powerful part of our being and our well-being and our health is to understand on a very basic level that what you're feeling is an indication of the energy that is surrounding you. So this is another reason why this is important. Is that sometimes, especially for those of us who are more sensitive, maybe you identify yourself as an empath, meaning you are extremely sensitive to the environment that you're in, the people who are there, the images and sounds that are coming in. You're maybe a highly sensitive person. There's also that terminology. So something that's important to understand is that you might walk into a room as an empath and be picking up heavy energy. And then when you leave that room, you think there's something wrong with you. So then you think there's something wrong with you. And then the mind goes, oh, of course, I'm aggravated about what that person said to me yesterday, or I'm feeling afraid about this upcoming thing that's happened, or, has happened or hasn't happened. So it's tricky sometimes. If we don't understand at a basic level our energy and our constitution and our being, then sometimes it can actually cause us to endure unnecessary suffering in life, right? Because we take on other people's stuff. To a certain degree, any of us, even the person who's maybe least sensitive, takes on other people's stuff because we are in relationship with each other at the energetic level. We're constantly sending out energy and receiving energy without even realizing it. Again, I go back to that example of being in that room, right? So if we're walking into a situation where someone is giving off a light energy, we feel that. We might not know what it is. We might not be able to put a term to it, but we know that when we're around that person, we feel good. And is that because they're a good person? Or is that because maybe they just have light energy? And do they have light energy because they're a healer or because they've been healed? Or maybe that's just how they were born. Because that's the truth, is that some of us are born with a lightness to us, with a lightness to our being. Some of us are not, right? So it's important to understand how we relate to energy, if we're sensitive to it, if we're not sensitive to it. And if we are sensitive to it, maybe there are things that we need to learn how to do to better manage how we deal with it, right? So if we know that we're someone who's an empath or a highly sensitive person, or maybe we're just going through a period in our life where we're more stressed and tired than usual, maybe we have a lesser tolerance for the heavier energy, knowing that about yourself helps you to make choices to support what you need. So I'm going to give you an example. So there have been times in my life when I have put out a lot of energy, again, doing wonderful things that I love and enjoy. And at the same time, perhaps on a social level, I've decided that I needed to be a little more inward. So maybe I wasn't as interested in going out socially during that period of time because I just felt like I was giving out a lot of energy and I didn't want to put myself in a situation to have to absorb other people's energy. So that's a very simple example. It could be something related to maybe not making that phone call or not answering that message, whatever it is that you need to do to manage your energy so you feel good is important. So something else that I want to share about the energy body, going back to what I said earlier about energy being neutral. So when we have a sense of lightness, meaning maybe we feel happy and joyful and peaceful and loving and everything's going well, that's when we are connected to the light energy, When we're feeling heavier energy, those are the times when maybe we're feeling depressed or sad or tired or worried or fearful, all those other emotions that make us feel a certain way. So I'm going to ask you to think about something. The difference between our experience, our personal experience of light energy and heavy energy depends on our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. So if we're thinking thoughts that make us sad, it is likely that our energy is going to be heavy. If we are thinking thoughts that make us happy, it is likely that we're going to feel a lightness. So many of us don't even realize that the number of thoughts that go through our head, right, on a daily basis, and then the quality of those thoughts, right? So they're heavier thoughts, or people like to use the word negative, but I'm going to call them heavier thoughts. They bring us down. And what happens is that we start to then, with our thoughts, we start to then feed our emotions. So we have the thought, and then it produces a feeling on us. And then sometimes if we don't catch it in time, then we actually take an action from that place of heavy energy and emotion and negative thought, which usually doesn't have great consequences. So this is an opportunity for you to really take a moment and just think about how many times a day are you kind of pulled into that heaviness. Now, I know some of you are thinking, yeah, but it's not me. It's my surroundings, right? It's the person I live with or the person I work with or what's happening on the news. Well, stop watching the news, because I stopped. But that's a real legitimate thing for people who are sensitive. And if you notice yourself getting triggered by those situations, that it's an opportunity for you to do something about it. So that is why I chose years ago not to watch the news. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to know about it. I am here, and if something happens in front of me, that's what I need to know, and that's my personal choice. I am too sensitive, and it drags me right into the heaviness. So, but that's not true for everybody. There are other people that, can watch the news, or they say they can watch the news and it doesn't have an impact on them. I mean, I disagree with that. I don't think that's possible. But I believe maybe there's some highly evolved souls that can watch the news for information and then just let it go. Not me. So know yourself. Know how you respond to your environment. Know what things make you feel light and what things make you feel heavy, and try to do the things and be in the situations that make you feel more light. Because the heavy energy is simply an energy that's disordered, right? It's something that, again, is something for us to learn from. So in a situation where, let's bring it to relationships, because that's a popular one, right? So we may say that there's someone in our life that's close to us that we really can't avoid being around that has heavy energy, and they drag us down. Well, the opportunity, if this is a person that you choose to be around or you have to be around, then it is your responsibility to do what you need to do to be around that person without getting dragged down. And sometimes that could mean setting a boundary, so maybe spending less time with this person. It certainly means thinking about them less. Because something that I've noticed, and I chuckle because it is funny, I've done it myself, is that we can have 10 things going on in our life. If there's one that's heavy, we tend to focus 90% of our time on that one thing that's heavy, right? I do it myself. So we have to notice those opportunities where we can really shift our energy body by paying attention to the stuff that happens in the gap, right? In our thoughts, those places that really pull us and lure us in for whatever reason. You're not bad if you have heavy energy. You're not bad if you're drawn to it. It's part of the human condition, and we need it because some of us need the heavy energy to motivate us to make changes, right? To make changes. So this isn't a judgment conversation. As always, this is a conversation to help you awaken, to help bring some awareness, and also to really give you the chance in your life to look at your values and what's important to you. So is it important that you are around people who have light energy? Because I will tell you, it starts with you. If you decide that you want to be that person, you want to have that light energy, then you need to be it no matter who and no matter what. You don't get to go around and say, I'm going to be light energy, but then you're around someone who's not, and then all of a sudden you fall and blame them. That's not how it works. I'm sorry to tell you that, but I still love you. Hope you still love me, but that's not how it works. If you do your inner work, you'll realize, and you do your practices, then you'll realize it's actually not so serious and that you actually don't have to plug in so much. So something else, having said all that I want to share with you a little bit more specifically is the energy body and anxiety. There's this word that we use that I have heard more than ever. One of the main reasons why I see people that come to me for energy healing or for meditation or for coaching is because of the anxiety. There's like anxiety everywhere. So the first thing is turn off the television. The second thing is sometimes the energy is simply excitement. Sometimes the energy is not anxious. So we have this thing where we have to label everything, right? So if I'm feeling, let's say I have a big presentation coming up and I'm feeling all this energy, right? It's a presentation in front of thousands of people and I've never done it before at this venue and it's maybe a new topic that I'm sharing. So I might feel something like big energy and I might say, oh, I'm anxious, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm actually excited. So I'm careful, and I encourage you to be careful to start to label what the energy is. Maybe there's a little bit of nervousness in there, but maybe there's a whole lot of excitement in there because it's something new. So again, part of this whole process is understanding how we label something impacts how we experience something, right? And I've talked about this in different ways. Instead of seeing something as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity, right? So this is lifelong training. This isn't something that I just came up with last month. This is something that I've developed over the years and that I apply to my life. And I apply it on an ongoing basis. It's a practice, right? So really looking at, is what I'm experiencing, is this energy, does it even need to have a label? Does it even need to have a label? And maybe it does for you. Maybe that gives you some sort of a way to kind of make sense of it. And I respect and understand that. And I encourage you, though, to just be mindful of how you label the way you feel. And that any way you label it is going to make you feel a certain way. So if we're using those heavier terms, it's likely you're going to feel that. If we're using lighter terms, it's likely you're going to feel that. So something that I like to do when I feel energy around something, I like to say it's an adventure. Because really, life is an adventure. And when you experience the full range of human emotion, from joy to terror to fear to anger, I mean, think about all the emotions we're capable of experiencing, that it actually is an adventure. And if you can see it that way, I find and have found it's a lot more enjoyable. So try that on. So what can you do? What can you do with this information that I've given you about the energy body, about why it's important? Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to what makes you feel light. Pay attention to what makes you feel heavy. And this is anything from your thoughts to the environment you're in, to the food that you put in your body, right? So if this is something you're curious about, pay attention. And then see if there's something that you can learn about it. So if there's a situation that you are putting yourself in and you constantly feel heavy, maybe it's time to reflect and say, why am I doing that? What is that? What do I gain from that? Right? And that's something that energy healing and working with an energy healing practitioner can help you understand, right? So that's the other thing people ask me is, well, what is energy healing and how is it different from therapy or, talking with someone? And to me, it's all the same. I've done all of it. I think all of it has value. In my experience of energy healing, I have found that it helps us when we understand that energy is neutral and we understand that there are things that feel lighter and things that feel heavier. To me, I'm interested in what those things are for that individual and why. Because when we can understand the what and the why, then we can understand what to do about it, right? So there's a depth that energy healing provides, which I have found, for myself, as I shared recently, really profound when you really want to make life changes, when you really are ready and willing to transmute and transform some of those patterns or behaviors or ways of being and doing that just don't feel good anymore, that keep you in that heavy state, right? A lot of this stuff we learn not only from our families and generations, but we also learn it from society, and we also learn it from the people that we surround ourselves with. So, and sometimes we just pick it up. Sometimes it's just something that in this lifetime, that's our work, right? That's our challenge. That's our thing. So if you're interested in energy healing, find someone you trust. And often, in my experience, when I've wanted to work with people, I've either met them somewhere in a training, or maybe there's someone that I listened to on a podcast, or someone that has been a referral, a trusted referral. So that's important, because if we're working with a practitioner who is in fact maybe not doing their work, then they're absolutely projecting. And we all project to a certain extent. So it's really important to find someone who you can trust. And when I say trust, when you experience a session with someone, you will feel something. You will either feel, yes, this felt good, or no, this didn't feel good. You have to trust that. And sometimes you feel that from the first interaction, right? And it's not good or bad, right or wrong. There's somebody for everybody out there. It's not a personal thing. It's not a judgment thing. So keep that in mind. Pay attention. Learn what you can. If you want to work with someone, find someone to work with who you can trust. Sometimes it takes a little while. Over the years, I've worked with all kinds of people. I listen to my intuition when I feel like it's time to change. There's nothing wrong with that. So in closing, I want to say one other thing about the energy body, and that is that if we do not transmute or transform the energy, the heavy energy or the energies that don't serve us, we will definitely transmit them. We will transmit them to other people in our life. We will transmit them to our children. We will continue to send them out. So part of this energy healing or this energy body, this practice, and why personally I like to do it is because I don't want to pass along things that maybe I learned or things that are in my unconscious that are not healthy. I don't want to do it because I feel responsible for the energy I bring into this planet and that I show up with. So if you are serious about this, if it's a topic you're interested in, you want to learn more about, feel free to contact me. I will be doing more talking about it. If you have questions, you can email me at stephanie@bronxvillewellness.com. That's STEPHANIE at Bronxville Wellness, BRONXVILLE wellness.com. Thanks for listening. Do what you need to do. Get in touch. Let's go.